discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here with Barnet, Bain. We are good navigators in a world of uncertainty. I love that. Becoming good navigators in a world of uncertainty.
Yeah, that it is. Listening to him, it's like flying over at 50,000 feet and looking down. Somehow, I have a much more clarity in the light of that conversation about the textures and the intricacies that are going on, about the patterns that you can see from the high point of view. And it's about resilience, isn't it? Down on the ground,
and it's about a skill
chaotic.
set. It's the two, right? Resilience is a skill set.
The skill set is resilience.
Yes.
The skill set is the ability to move with the forces and to respond to them as opposed to reacting out of our psychology. But you have to become intimate with your psychology and in order to supersede it.
We need the full breadth of our humanity. We need the full breadth.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's a fuller breadth than we have been operating with.
And so each of us is responsible, in my mind,
100%,
for overcoming the narrowness of our programming and our self-identity. That is included in the experience, right? That comes along too. But if that's all we've got, it's not sufficient for where we're going. So what I heard Fernando saying, and frankly, it's what we've been saying, but I mean, it's great that it's being confirmed, is that the breadth of who we are evolving into has to be big enough to hold not just what we've done and gone through and known and so forth, but also what we're learning and growing into. And the skill set required to navigate that uncertainty is what this show is about.
It's what this show is about. Yeah. But it's taken us some time to see the forest for the trees. So it is more clear to me now. The path that we've been walking, I can look back now and see a little bit of brush cleared. I look forward and it's still as dense and fogged in as ever. But I am more attuned to the skill set. I'm more confident in my resilience and my ability to respond to the uncertainty than before. No, it's not ultimate, but it's more confident than before, and I can see that I've covered some territory.
And as indicated by more moments of clearing.
More moments of
That's
clearing.
That's all I've got.
And an understanding that beyond responding out of my structured imagining, out of my psychology, out of my conditioning, out of my patterns, out of my scripts, out of my habituated behaviors, beyond responding out of that with a clarity of that so that I can expand beyond it, love it, not try and crush it, just love it so that I don't have to scratch that itch every time.
Yeah. Suddenly
I am available to meet a life that will not be met with strategies.
Right.
Life is a lot bigger than, there's strategies and then there's humanities. We're very good with strategies.
Right. So
then I can meet life that is operating in its own way, mysterious, and respond to that. That is for me, that is the cutting edge of consciousness. Yeah. That is the skill set.
And I like all the arenas. So for this to occur in something that is repetitive and sort of narrow would not be sufficient. So this show, of course, has a life of its own. You've written the book of Doing and Being, which is often running in a big way.
Yeah.
That has its own life. It's its own expression. You're starting a new film with Donald Sutherland.
2 weeks.
Yeah, The Milton Secret, which is, so I love the various expressions.
And it's all one thing.
It's all one thing. This is what I was trying to get to, is that, again, are you a filmmaker? Are you an author? Are you a radio personality?
And it can't be once upon a time, and it's not that far back. So I say once upon a time like it's ancient history, but for most of my life, I held life as a serial set of events. They were sequences. You were this, you were that, you did this.
A single word title.
Exactly.
What's your religion? I'm Catholic. What's your job? I'm a lawyer. Everything was give me one word that I can shoehorn everything into this narrow box.
Women are more attuned to the higher truth of this, I think, because certainly the women in my life They are juggling all kinds of plates, spinning plates all over the place.
Multiple hats.
So you don't just show up as a job. They have extra jobs just in their jobs. They have the pressures of a patriarchal world, so they don't just show up for work. They show up. They have to look good. They have to have makeup. They have all kinds of things that men don't have. In addition to their job, they have to come home, raise the kids.
They're in that dance of coordination. So in a very human way.
Men, we don't have the same. I certainly don't have the same degree of. It's not multitasking. It is an integrity, an understanding of, there's a sense of a whole person that's just not as segmented. So they have a deeper connection with that higher truth of how life really is. I'm just starting to understand it because all of these things that have been seeded over many years, they all just seem now, my friendships and my relationships and yes, a book, a movie, those kinds of things, they all seem to, they're all at once. It's all one thing. Life is not a serial thing unless we push things away and unless we disconnect ourselves from its truer nature. Life is a martini. You just shake it up and pour it.
Well, and so look, if you sit down with a branding expert, for example, and I did this recently.
Yeah, they will pull you apart.
Yeah, they'll say, well, okay, how do we, what's your brand? What is the single thing we can define you as? What's the one story we can tell and repeat and repeat and repeat? And I have said to them, no, thank you.
You're a comprehensivist.
I'm not interested.
Like Bucky Fuller.
Yeah.
You don't want to be, there's a time for specialization.
Yeah.
That is a time of adolescence when you specialize. Yeah. When you have absolutes and you have guarantees. All things are, this music sucks.
Right.
If I wear those shoes, I'll be, you specialize. And then there is a time you begin to mature and you begin to not multitask, but you begin to express yourself.
Dimensionalize.
You dimensionalize. Exactly. That's the word. You express yourself and dimensionalize. You become more of who you are with conscious awareness in every aspect.
And I don't care if you can't define it. I really
if
don't.
If you can define it, then you are not. Then you are not creating you're not cutting a new path.
That's
following someone else.
That's it. But that is unnerving for some folks. I mean, it really is. It's unnerving for me.
Hey, it's unnerving.
I sat down with this branding expert and left feeling bad, like how to figure out what my brand is. Of course I didn't.
The living of it is unnerving because it is chaotic. And now if we lay judgment on it, it becomes a dark chaos. It becomes a constrictive chaos. If we develop the kinds of relationship that Fernando Flores is referring to, then this is a skill set of resilience that allows that chaos to become a beautiful chaos. But the nature of life, folks, it's chaotic.
Well, I'm gonna be really bold. You and I chose lives that had some uncertainty. I mean, we chose various careers and various expressions
that allowed us to have no return.
we burned the bridge a long time ago. This came up like maybe 5 years ago when I was facing some financial issues, and Jasmine sat me down and said, okay, well, what job can you go out and get? And I went, I don't know. I've never had a job in my adult life.
I drove 7 limousines simultaneously, I couldn't pay the phone bill.
Exactly. But the point I'm trying to make is going back to this idea of being good navigators of a world of uncertainty. I'm just saying that you and I are practiced in this, right? And it wasn't so fun for a long time. Not that it's even fun today.
More practiced. I mean, it's like, I think of it as lobsters in a pot. So, this is hot, and then pretty soon you get used to it and you're backstroking around the pot, and then you turn up the jets and, whoa, it's getting hot in here, and you get used to it. So there is a relationship between how much chaos one can deal with before it is overwhelming and you go into inundation. And my experience of it, although at times I certainly did feel hysterical, but my experience is that your soul, your higher self, that the world is a loving place, and it meets you at the edge. It is almost like it's waiting for you at the edge of your possibility, and it is just enough. It's just enough to grow you. It's not enough. It never comes at you with such inundation that it'll crush you. But it will take you out of, if you let it, it will take you out of the smallness, and it will grow you beyond your wildest dream.
I said to you this morning when we were talking about your daughter that she's all in, right?
100%.
Yeah, and she's all in her life, and I wonder where she got the courage.
She burned those boats at 10 years old.
I wonder where she got the courage to do that, and it's just what she saw.
She never saw anything else, so she doesn't know anything differently.
Yeah. There wasn't this, classic sort of lecture about, what are you going to do as a backup plan? Every time I told my family I wanted to be an actor and I wanted to do all these things, they're like, yeah, well, what's your backup plan? What from the short menu of one-word titles can you take on so that you fit? And it never materialized. I couldn't figure out a one-word title that I was willing to adopt, which made them very uncomfortable. And look, folks, it's uncomfortable. So I, Barnet, encourage you to mix it up a little and become a good navigator in a world of uncertainty.
This was a really fun show. And
before we end, folks, go out and get the book of Doing and Being, Barnet's book. It is out on newsstands now, on bookstores.
Thank you so much for saying that, Freeman. I'm very grateful for all of the fantastic reviews, and it is number one in multiple
new releases,
categories in new release.
Okay, so with that, we're going to say goodbye and come back again here to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.